Hi there everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally. I was asked to share some information with you this morning. I don't normally talk about any of the practices that I use, any of the things that I do. I wouldn't necessarily call them rituals or anything because there's nothing ritualistic about it in terms of that it's always the same thing every single time. But when I'm clearing energy, when I'm working with negative energy or karmic energy or assisting someone else or wherever there's a bundle of ganked up stuff, ganked up stuff that's either mine or someone else's, depending on the situation. If it's somebody else's, I don't go clearing other people's stuff, just rando. That's not how that works. But when I'm clearing things and working on really freeing up some dense energy or some bundles, confusion, icky, whatever the way that it's presenting, there's lots of different ways that happens, and it's a very organically sprouted thing that happens right then. For instance, if I'm in the mountains, then I very often will get a vision of something, and then I know that I need to do some certain things, put some crystals perhaps that I've brought with me, put those in some certain places, or bring some ashes with me and release those or whatever. But it's never the same process, and it's never anything that I plan ahead of time, other than I'm asked to just bring a few items with me sometimes. And mostly though, it's a very organically grown experience within wherever I am, dealing very much with whatever's happening right there, and then I leave. So like I punch in and punch out. So here's the deal: is this morning is really cold. It's below zero, and when I check the school website, I'm a student, and when I checked the school website, it didn't say the school was canceled. No, okay, it's first day of school, so okay. So I go over, and I thank goodness I left really way early, right? But situational awareness, whoopsie, did not allow for me to really pick up on the fact that, well, there's nobody on the road. There's, it's cold. There's no snow, but it's really cold. And yesterday when I checked, there just weren't a lot of closings. And so they don't plan ahead the way that I would have planned ahead to know, but learn how to unplug from that one, right? So I'm driving around, and I didn't really pick up on the fact that there's really, why aren't there a lot of people? And I said, well, I guess maybe the schools, or some of the schools did cancel. Okay, so I finally go, and I'm driving someplace, and I thought I put the wrong direction in. I thought Spirit, my GPS perhaps, told me that I was headed the wrong way, and that I had put in the wrong address, that I had asked it to take me somewhere. So I drove around in a fog for a minute, and it's a really great thing that I did, because there was no school. It's a good thing that I was driving around and not needing to be anywhere. That's really what I meant to say, pardon me, that it didn't matter. But I was starting to feel that anxiety, and I thought, we're going to do this really to get upset about being late to a first day of school, in college where there's grown folks, and you're way more grown than most of them, twice as grown probably. What is your problem? So I was really, struggling in my car with, feeling twitty and just snitty about stuff that just doesn't usually rock my world. I don't get a lot bothered by a lot anymore, and so why would I care about this? For heaven's sakes. It's the first day of class, and I'm looking to transfer to a different time slot anyway, so stop. I was really wrestling with myself. And so I started praying, and I said, all right, I know that there's a lesson here. I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling a little pissy. Can we get on with this, and help me find the campus that I'm supposed to be at, to get to that campus, find the shuttle, and and I think I'm going the wrong direction. Well, I actually was headed to the right campus. It's just whatever. I was all in a snit and a twit about it, that I didn't know what was going on. I did not like that feeling of being in the dark, and I'm going to be late, and I'm in the dark, so there was a lot riding on the line, for God's sakes, don't not know what you're doing, Kate. It was just feeling very super personal. So anyway, I started praying and just affirming that there's something here for me, and I release and let go of this anxiety. And one of the techniques that comes up that helps me with alchemy and transmutation of energy is when I'm feeling that, I can often cast it. If you think of it in that terms, that's probably the easiest way to think of it. I withhold or hold that energy and put it into a bundle, right? Grab a hold of that in my imagination, if you will, and really start visualizing that bundle. And if I get a color with it, that's great. If not, that's fine also. Just, working with that bundle of, something doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. So how can I release this and let it go? And really start working here right in front of the heart chakra, and visualizing that little nut roll of whatever it is that was bothering me. I didn't know why, because I just don't generally get slurp and burp on the soundbite there. There's Hondo letting us know that I was certainly very thirsty to figure out, how to get where I was going, because I don't want to be late. It had that edge of naughty girl in it, or shame, 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 Those were back in the days whenever you were a bumbling idiot. You don't do that anymore. Blah, blah, blah. There's a whole dialogue. So anyway, as I'm driving, now I'm not going to be, doing a whole lot of this while I'm driving. So we're going to adapt. We're going to get flexible and adapt. So I said, okay, how do I do this? And I just put one hand on my heart and really visualizing there that heart energy. And with that bundle, once it's cleaned up a bit, I'm not going to go cast in anything, even in my imagination, if it weren't for real. And it is, but even if it wasn't, I wouldn't want to be, putting out pollution. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit before I ask, the mountains to take on some more of that energy for me that I really can't transmute any further. But I'm going to do as much of my cleansing of it that I can, and then ask that to go over there. And so just visualizing, releasing and letting go, cutting karmic ties, and really sending that bundle of energy over into the mountain range with as much love and intention for kindness and release. And whatever part of me that was so bothered and so, traumatized with, it felt that deep, 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 deep panic. However, it hadn't risen to the front of my mind enough that it was affecting my decision making. But that's a very slippery slope, for a lot of us. And I've been on that slippery slope way too many times, and on the bottom of it looking like a complete horse's ass. So, I really do want to stay on top of that. So whatever that part was, let me ameliorate her and soothe her and really bring some sense of comfort that, oh no, we have a whole mountain here. There's strength, there's courage, there's, foundation, and there's the whole spirit right here. We just have to stay connected to that, Kate. We have to stay connected to you. You have to stay connected to us. So how can we do that? And it's literally just keeping that engagement going of, okay, my intention is to really release this with kindness and really let that part of myself know that it's really okay. It's beautifully okay. It really is. Even if I was late, even if, and then go through the whole thing, speaking out loud, and don't give a darn about whoever might be driving around me or look at me or blah, none of that. Because it's more important for me to let that part of me that was so distressed know that it's really okay. And I kept saying, I'm learning something here. I'm not sure what it is, but at a minimum, we're learning something here. And we're going to move some of this energy off. So it's just a matter of let's take a few deep breaths and, keep remembering that, Kate, keep remembering and coaching myself through that. And I want you to know that here in Colorado Springs where I live, we've all heard the America the Beautiful song. A lot of us have heard the America the Beautiful song, which was written out here where I live in Colorado Springs. And it's at Memorial Park. It's gorgeous. The Purple Mountains. They truly are purple. I never really knew what people meant by that. And I said, I don't see it. I don't get it. And I've heard people say it, but I wasn't in a position to ask, and I never thought to look it up. This morning, at just the time that I needed to really be working, and moving some of this denser stuff off of me. It's just not stuff I'm going to be able to clean up a whole lot more, or it may not be mine. Whatever it is, I just know now's the time to release it. You're done working with that now, and move that over. The mountain range was purple. There's only a very certain amount of time, a very short amount of time in the morning, and when snow's on top of the mountains, it's more prominently noticed. However, it does happen year-round, I'm told, but at the time of morning that I was out this morning, that is when those purple mountains are there, and there was actually a big, beautiful stretch of clouds above it that were kind of a lavender purplish, and we just had all these overtones, and I wanted to stop so much and take a picture to make sure that I memorialized it, right? Yeah, that's why there's a whole park and a song. I wanted to stop and no, this is engage in this moment, in this very organic moment, plug into the moment and really get what you need here rather than futzing with your camera 939 and worrying about, capturing the moment. Capture the moment. Actually reach out and capture that booger. and kiss it and make it yours, rather than trying to remember it by taking a picture that you're going to get more here by doing this. So there was a lot going on, and I moved that stuff off and just kept saying, okay, release and release and release and let it go and let it go, and I did, so it felt better, but it was not completely gone. It absolutely was not. I was a little bit buttered, and so but it doesn't matter. I got to another campus where I thought the shuttle was going to be, and people were very, very kind and saying, oh, yeah, well, you don't have to worry. The shuttle's not here, but school's canceled today. Cool. Then I just laughed. I said, oh, that's really great. Then I really do know. And that last little bit of whatever is still hanging on, going, oh, no, I should have been on time, all that dialogue. It just instantly went away, and the man was so nice. It was a security guard. He was just very kind, he was very nice about it, and I went on and went on about my business and got to my car and thought, well, now what? What do I do now? I'm already out, and is there any shopping I need to do? Is there anything? And it's 900,000 degrees below zero. I don't want to do this a lot, so if we can, more bang for my buck, baby. How much can I get done? And for some weird reason, there just really wasn't a lot to do. I already bought me groceries, really, but I was scratching 11:11. I just felt like I need to really keep thinking about or motoring around, just driving slow, and I ended up at the grocery store. Okay, I don't know what I'm getting. Well, I'm gonna go get Hondo, my dog. We've been shut-ins for almost a week because of this weather. It's crazy, so we're not going out and spending a whole lot of time. And when we play, it's on yard time shortened when it's 12 degrees below zero, ambient temperature. Nah, thanks. So we've been shut-ins, and I was going to get him a nice little chew toy just to bribe him till we get to summer-like weather tomorrow when we're in the 50s. So I went into the grocery store to get that, and I turned around and want you to know that there's a woman that lives in the building, and she's become a friend of mine, and she's just had some procedure done that I recently had some dental work done too, and her face is just all swollen, and when I saw her, I said, oh, I recognize that. I know that. I do know that, and oh no, so I said, oh my, what happened? And did you just come from the dentist? What are you doing here? Because I just literally went through the last year. Man, I had dental work for a minute. It was a mess. My mouth was just torn up and horrible, and I know just how much that hurts physically, how painful it is, especially because her face is swollen. I got a few of those pictures myself, and then on top of that, not just this, but there's also the feeling of shame. Sometimes when we go to the dentist, why didn't you take, or to the doctor, why didn't you take better care of yourself? Well, nah, all of this. So she's just telling me it was a great experience. This dentist was just so nice. And she said, I know it sounds kind of weird. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are we walking in the same pair of feet or what? Because, I had the same experience, horrible dentist, and then suddenly, found God in a dentist. Literally. So, I was so happy for her that, thank you, because that's just a nightmare to have horrible teeth, or horrible situation with your teeth, and then some butthole who's going to judge you 13 about it, and it's expensive. There are no free passes in dentistry, man. Jeez, even with insurance. So anyhow, long story short, not really, but I'll say that. It sounds good. So anyway, I asked her, I said, what are you doing here? I said, can I get your groceries? I said, why don't you just go on home? I'll get your groceries for you and take them home for you. Please go home, because I'm sure, no matter how independent we are and all that, and she has, help. She does. It's just you're here, so your help isn't here. They're doing something else, or what? I wasn't judging it. It's just go home, because I can do it. I am here, and we don't both need to be here. So she said, really? I said, yeah, really. She said, well, I got to go drop my prescription off, and let's tag team. And that's what the new alchemy, a new technique for alchemy and transformation came up, is that by going through an experience that I went through as well, where I had no help, no money for a long time, which made the problem even worse, and dentists that were really shaming. I went through a minute. There was a lot of work to do around shame, body shaming and self-care shaming and stuff like that, and dudes in authority. I had a lot of work to do around that. So I swirled in that department for many years, in different applications. But in dentistry, that was the last biggie. and it literally took a year to clean up. So I mean, I'm looking at this woman and knowing that I didn't have any help for most of that experience. Most of that experience, there was one occasion where I had to have an emergency root canal done, but otherwise every bit of dental that I've gone through, all the pain, all the everything, has been by myself, which is fine. I'm an independent woman and I live by myself. I kind of expect that, and I give great credence to the fact that I have 3 animals that share space with me. So I'm not alone. I'm alone of humans, but I hermit. That's my thing, and I'm not bothered by it. But, she's used to having a little more help, and I had been used to having a little more help. And here, let's face it, that when we're not feeling well, we really would probably just like to have help. We just don't want to have to beg for it, and we don't want to have to pay for it later. Well, I helped you when you were sick. We don't want to have to pay tit for tat. Most people. I don't. Let me just put it right there. So I was really just interested in offering her as much as I could to help her so that she could go home and take care of herself. And what I realized when I peeled off and started getting the stuff to make some chicken soup for her, because that's what came to me, was, oh, this is how we're repatterning. This is how we're alchemizing here, is that it helps to acknowledge the fact that she has a very different dental story than you do. She's got very different experience than you do about that. You've got a lot of hurt feelings and da-da-da-da-da. She's got a lot of whatever she's going through, but it's a different experience for this, for her in that application. So you can observe that difference without getting all upset and bothered. I didn't, fortunately, anymore. It doesn't bother me too much anymore, but it did not cause any reaction. And I could appreciate the fact that she has family members, she has a spouse, she has, lots of help and people that are willing to assist her so that she can go home and really just do what it takes to take care of her body and get her needs met. So there was that, and appreciating that, creating that heart space of, wow, that's really cool. And then being given the instruction in that organically sprouted experience that ask her if she'd like some soup. I make chicken soup a lot. I do a lot of bone broth with chicken broth. I make almost everything out of bone broth. But I eat a lot of soups because they're easy and they're fast. And so, and you can make 18 gallons of them at a time. I'm not very picky. I'm just kind of streamlined. And most of the time, grab one. It doesn't matter what it is. Grab something out of the fridge and off you go. So anyway, soup is kind of my thing. And I offered to make her some chicken soup, and she said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, really. It's really like a staple." I said, "Yeah, really." I said, "Really? It's really okay, And she lit up and she said, "Yeah, I really think I would." I said, "Well, at a minimum, you go do your thing over there to the pharmacy, and I'll go and grab the stuff for the soup that I'll make. And is there anything else I can get you?" As I was going around the store, I realized that part of creating that little warm, wonderful spot of, oh, that's really nice that she has help. That's so sweet. That wasn't my experience. How can I make my experience feel better? Well, I can't make that experience be better in terms of mine, what it was. Facts are facts are facts. However, I could definitely very much experience that warmth of what it is to see someone else not have that experience, and then really take that warm golden feeling and just send it into that space in my mind at that whole time frame of my own when I was having such a hard time and I did not have any assistance. So the alchemy really happens with being able to appreciate something at a really high level, being able to find the gratitude for it, being able to find, well, I don't know what the reason is for that. I don't know what the reason is for that. I don't always know. What was the purpose of driving for, almost an hour just to find out that I was going to go, to the grocery store when my neighbor is going to be there, and I could possibly assist her and do some stuff that's beneficial for not just her or me, but for the collective of humanity overall, because it's clearing some of that debt that I've mentioned in another video, that anywhere that we can clear the debt, and we clear it at a very high vibrational level, baby, those are just seeds of goodness that really sprout. They're like hybrid super seeds, and they do a lot of really good work. 1919. However, it's just a matter of really consciously choosing that, setting it up in my mind anyway, that please don't get so distracted with the feelings of, I'm late. Please don't get distracted with all that and get right back in here to that pipeline, that DSL, the whatever the wireless, however it is, but get that whole entire pipeline open up and be a clean and clear vessel, Kate, so that you can receive all the information you need to know exactly how to deal with not only this bundle that you're dealing with and feeling here, but you're also going to go and clear out some dental debt. That there was still some sadness and some pain and some anger and irritation, all kinds of stuff around it because I had a little flare up, and looks like I might have to have another tooth removed, which seemed like a failure. But I'm like, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue. I'm not. I gave it its best shot. It's had a year, and there's just a time to call the code, 2020, and it's about recognizing that too. That okay, nothing is a wasted effort that is done well. Nothing done in vain if it's done with really good and right intention. But it was bringing up some feelings of shame and some feelings of fear and some feelings of and then on top of it, I'm late this morning. I'm sure that's what that bundle was all about. But hey, let's go put some into the Purple Mountains. And remember, we're cleaning up our, my part of it. I had to clean that up before I could go ask, Gaia or Pikes Peak to take on any of that. That's not fair. Do your part. We're not shifting the debt. Do your part. And then work to get through my own feelings about dental and the possibility that I may have to have some more dental work done that I wasn't expecting in a couple of days, and the sadness and all of that. Let's work through that as well. And so as I cook in a little bit, when I get going with making the chicken soup that I'm going to make for her, that will be a period where I'll have my frequency music going. I actually have some light bulbs that are very specific colors, and I pop those in for a brief amount of time. I put my TV on. It's a fairly large screen, and I get an ambient scene going, either some sort of DMT video with the music turned all the way down so it's just the visual. So there's kind of a psychedelic, or there'll be wild elephants or live animals, something, underwater aquarium, something like that, that's related to whatever it is that I'm working with, and I know that organically in the moment. And then I have a big giant speaker that I pipe the music through, that I'm going to be companioning with whatever's on the TV and the light bulbs, etc. But generally, it's always frequency music, but generally it's a fairly, when it's clearing, it's usually shamanic drumming frequencies and all kinds of different indigenous cultural stuff, but they're very specific. I mean, this is taking technology and moving with my own history and my own need to clear some emotional debt, but using technologies that are here. The frequencies are here. There's plenty, just hundreds of videos of very quality shamanic drumming or chanting, Nordic chanting for women chanting, wolf release. There's a ton of stuff out there. So the best way that I can really, really get high vibrational and be working with Purple Mountains and with, my own stuff here is take the fact that this is a woo-woo, the feels. However, we're going to marry that up with the heals part, which is more solid scientific. We're going to get some colors going. We're going to get some frequency going with the sound, and we're going to actually go in and start doing some physical clearing. There's some physical exercises I do. There's some dancing 23. There's different things that come up. Some of them are similar from one experience to the other, or I remember, 2 years ago I remember we were doing this. It's a very free form thing most of the time, but it's really about consciously choosing to open up that line of communication to get the download even further about how this is going to clear. What specific shamanic music am I going to use? Which specific video am I going to roll? What particular affirmations will I say? What will I be visualizing as I'm making the soup, later? That's a completely different episode than where I've been already. But you see how it's organically growing. It's creating itself in the moment, every moment that's there, as long as I'm staying in that moment and being acutely aware of the fact that sometimes there's very subtle shifts, and it's going to take some pretty close and keen attention. So that's put in there as a means to keep me here, keep me busy with something micro for a few minutes so that I don't twit out and get too tapped into that little girl or that little part that, the part that had issues with the dentist and, just hated going to the dentist and stuff. It's just so shamey. That little part of me that felt like that, and that little part that was late all the time, and the shamed individual of me, which is such a woo-woo feels thing that, that you're so sensitive. It's that, and yet I have to address that. So how can I address that in a very high vibrational and hard science kind of way? Because I'm going to have to feel the feels, but if I have to feel them and they feel crappy, then we're going to make this as manageable as possible. And that's not spiritual bypassing. It's also not asking for a handout. It's also not, doing a workaround or getting a free pass or anything. And we have to feel the feels. I was in tears, in when I'm driving. I was in tears. It's just that it didn't get that far. And when it needs to go that far, it goes that far, because those doors get opened. Asking to be a clean and clear vessel. Please, Lord, open my vessel and make me clean and clear. That's what's going to happen for me anyway. That's my experience, is that cleanse my vessel and make this a clear channel so that I might hear you very clearly as to what my next steps are. Order my steps so that they're in the highest vibrational movement that I can possibly be making for myself or anyone else at any time. Please order my steps. And those steps are ordered and the vessel is cleared. We ask for it, it will clear, which means I end up crying, hysterically sometimes, laughing sometimes. It's a clearing of just the bundles. How does that happen? Casting it sometimes, working with it directly here and just recirculating, putting stuff, in a circle, a cyclical experience between heaven and earth experience. I mean, there's so many different ways it happens, and that's why I don't really talk about it, and why I was a little bit surprised 26 that I was going to be sharing any of that, because it's just not something that I generally share. I just don't, because it's not a guarantee that it would work for me a second time, much less if I tell someone else that that's the way to do that. I'm not into it. I'm into very much teaching exactly what I said, which is get in the organic moment and know that if you got to cry, you got to cry. If you got to scream, you got to scream. If you got to punch somebody, you don't got to do that. If you got to punch somebody or let something out, please do that in a safe way, in a kind way, and responsible way, and all that. Otherwise, let it rip, and stay as far away as possible, truly as possible, with great kindness, any mood-altering substance, unless you're taking that very consciously and it's directed and able to move that with that whole experience. Otherwise, it's just distracting some more. So there are very many ways that we can learn the alchemy and the art, the arcane knowledge, the noetic sciences, Gnosticism. We can learn the old Hermeticism. We can learn a lot of that old stuff and its newer version, or its evolutionary version as it looks today. We can really get a lot of that information from right in here by getting into prayer and meditation and just getting in touch and saying, clean and clear vessel, how might I open my channel so that I can hear you? And it clears. It does. It may take some time. That I've never talked to anybody that told me that they were asking to get guidance, that they didn't get it. However, they were asking, if it's a pure intention to please show me and order my steps, and I release and let go of whatever that looks like, and then work through all of the butthurt, about the steps in between, because sometimes it doesn't always look as nice as we would hope that it would. However, it clears the debt, and no matter what, Purple Mountains today were kind enough to take away a whole echelon of stuff that just did not feel sad, sick, gross, nasty, shamed, or anything by the time I got done, because the way to transmute it more fully for me is, and I believe other people as well, however, again, I'm not going to tell you have to do something a certain way to reach glory. That's, you have to find it. That's part of the whole thing, is yours to, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's God? Somewhere in the universe, go on your scavenger hunt, go, boom. But shoot, I forgot what I was going to say, and it doesn't matter. Really, truly, the best thing, I'm sorry, wrapping back around, the best thing about it is that by the time I got myself into the grocery store with my friend, that's where the drop in of how I was going to be able to clear even more. That not just dead of mine, dead of hers as well, and dead of anyone else in that whole collective, because it's a whole density. It's like a radio station, you know, it's a whole 2929. It's like a whole radio station of just shitty stuff that, oh yeah, we just turned that station off. We've closed that reality tunnel. It's no longer open for business. We don't have to, nobody has to tap into that field anymore. No one. And it sounds so inconsequential and that it wouldn't matter. However, think about it in terms of, you know, litter. I mentioned this in another video, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself and you've heard this before. But if one person picked up a piece of trash everywhere they were, if they picked up a piece of trash and threw it away appropriately, we really would have a litter problem taken care of a lot. You know, we'd have a whole lot taken care of right then. So if you think about the idea that doing a little bit at a time, as opposed to not doing anything and then trying to do a clean sweep all at once, those are brutal. You know, purges can be quite brutal, but if we stay consistent with it, you know, consistently asking for that open channel, consistently asking for, how can I do this? How can I meet the needs of what's inside of me that's not balanced or feeling okay because I feel kind of creepy? How can I do that and meet the needs of whatever else is going on here? How might I take as much of this nasty, foul energy down with me and transmute that as I can? Because that's picking up litter. That's energetic litter that other people have, you know, cast off, just like I have. You know, we've all been irresponsible about it, and we've been hateful and, you know, whatever. But if I pick up a piece of trash, energetic or otherwise, then I'm creating, first of all, a wave of, you know, this is a good idea. Somebody sees me do it, maybe they do it as well. But I'm also setting up the momentum that I can already get started doing that. Then I build that habit, and it means that I'm taking away from the earth, right? It does mean that I'm taking away from the density of the earth, but more importantly, it's building up that discipline of, I'm working in service. That's what I meant to say when I got completely distracted a few minutes ago, pardon me, that taking that whole idea from just, I want to be out of pain and out of creepy feelings, please make this stop, mountains, take that. It's about turning it to service even further. That not just stopping at, how can I meet my own need? How can I meet my own desire to release and let go of karmic crap and nasty stuff that feels bad, but then turn that around and how may I help someone else? Service is really, for me, where it is. It's just that it can't be codependent service, and that's where I was wrong in my past, was trying to help everybody all the time. And I can't help anybody any of the time, that I'm not really needing to do that, that's not a healthy exchange. However, I knew that this morning, that, oh, this is so a healthy exchange, because this is someone very familiar that I know, and I've, you know, met her a while ago. We've been friends, you know, and I like her a lot. She's a very nice lady. You know, I would make soup for anybody, but especially beautiful. That this is a woman, 32. She works hard. She has a great job that I have a lot of respect for, and she's just a really nice lady. And what a great opportunity to be of service, to transmute energy where no one was of service, chose not to be of service to me. That sets the new standard for me, right? It sets the standard for me now going forward, and it also will transmute backwards. Timelines are fun, and that time dilation thing and energy in metaphysics and things, it's deep, but but it's really important to do that work. So it's a fantastic, miraculous kind of experience that seems like it would just be, you know, double down on what kind of horseshit is that. However, I've seen it make miraculous changes, not in just in my life, but in other people's lives as well. And it's the miraculous power and the miracle making of Christ energy, God energy, universal energy, love, whatever anybody else would call that, that really divine presence, divinity, that through me, clean, clear vessel, man. If we open our vessel and get it clean and clear, we get all kinds of information. It's just a matter of, where's the discipline? Keep picking up the trash. Keep picking up, you know, wherever, and be of discipline enough to say, how may I be of service here? How may I be of service here? How may I be appropriately of service here? So that I'm not codependently interacting. I'm not supposed to help every single person help, you know. That's very guided for me, and it's just such a gift whenever it comes, it's not a surprise. It's consistent that open that channel there and let's clear out however long it takes, as many times as it takes, and consistently saying thank you, thank you, thank you, and finding those warm spots of appreciation for, wow, that's really cool, that's really neat. And then taking that feeling of, I just think it's so cool that other people, have great resources. I want to be one too, so how can I help you? It's a cycle that Fibonacci spirals up, it moves up. It goes up into the Kate 88. I love it. 88 was my favorite number growing up. Eights in general. I love eights. I love numbers. I'm a numbers nerd. But math is not my thing. I just like the way they look. So autism moment. But the number 88, right? If you think about that, just continuing to spiral up, whatever it takes to continue to stay absolutely marinating as much as possible, 100% of the day, right? Getting there. If it's 1%, keep on working. Is it 2% now? Then you've made improvement. Keep going. To keep coming back to, how may I clear my vessel so that I can hear, this universal energy singing to me, so that I can hear that instruction and feel that warmth in my heart, that I feel so warmed and I feel so much better about my own life that I'm willing to turn that around and help somebody else. Damn, that sounds like good stuff to me. 3535 88. Thank you. It does sound good, because that is what's good. We all need a little help every now and then. And sometimes, we're not here to clear karma for everybody else. We're really not. I'm not. That's not the dispatch I get ever, to clear karma for other people that are unwilling participants. That's a no-no. However, clearing karma where I've been asked to for someone else, there's a very specific reason for that. I'm usually given that in the moment, and it's not in every time. So it's very much more about being of service to the channel, being open and clear, so that I can be of service out here more directly when I'm asked to do that, and keep it more inside when I'm asked to do that. Basically, be a good follower and a leader. Be a good follower of what I'm hearing from the divine, and then lead that forward like I know what I heard correctly, and be willing to accept the course corrections as they come, without starting to feel that shame and I must have done something. What did I do wrong? I went to campus and didn't get on a shuttle and ended up with a whole realization instead. The universe is always working on our behalf. The universe is always working to teach us and help us to really grow and learn in a kind and loving way. Synchronicity is beautiful. We're all in the flow of synchronicity. It's just how synchronicity driven do you want to be? How synchronous would you like it to be? Because the further we get away from that, clearest, most concise, narrow path, right? That most synchronistic moment, synchronistic? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the moment, or the word, whatever's the most synchronistic way that it can be done. First, it can always be done better. That's where we're headed. It's always evolving to something better the next time, right? It's always there. And the further you get away from it, it's going to be less synchronistic. That sounds wrong, and if it is, my apologies. It's going to be less closely aligned with the most synchronistic flow. Good Lord, that's odd. See, that's not synchronistic at all. It's not in the most divine flow. Shall we get it right there? And I want to be in the part of the river that is the most divine, and is not out in the sloggy sides where it's bogged down and there's trash and there's, I don't know, there's reeds, there's stuff where I'm going to get all caught up and stuff. I want to be right in here. So the closer we are to that pure frequency, the closer we're going to be riding all of the synchronicity with it. So, wow, I think that's enough. Yeah, before I start babbling weird, I think I'm on the edge of maybe losing it. So, and I got soup to make. So anyway, that's the deal with it. That I hope that's helpful, that you can take some of those ideas, and more importantly, please don't take any idea of mine or anyone else's that does not feel right, that just makes you kind of, if it causes pause, if it caused for a pause, then it's worth doing that. It's worth taking a look and saying, I wonder why I have a problem with it, 3838. And the more we ask that question, the more we ask the divine will answer. It's a matter we build the self-confidence to say, yes, that in fact is what that is. I know what I heard. And let it go of that shame component. That's a lot of work, and you got a lot of work to a lot of people on the planet to do their work, and many are not. So those that are, struggling a little bit, we all have to do our thing. Just as much as you can, listen to the divine through your channel, cleanse and clear it, and know that there's no person here that has a better answer or the right answer for you. They may have an answer that works with you and for you. However, they don't have your answer specifically. If you go by someone else's answer, it often causes, I've never seen it work out, where a person felt completely free, sovereign, and able to make their own decisions without having to consult a whole lot of other people, physically or in their mind, worrying 39 about the judgment of all of it. So really, as much as can be cleared, being of service to others, letting go of shame, letting go of all the baggage and all of the story of what was life before 2024. We're not there anymore. We're just not. So energetically, we've gone up, and we're going to continue to go up. So I hope that's helpful for you. And if you have any questions, by all means, please do feel free to ask. And if you have any techniques that work for you that you're willing to share, please share them. Or feel free to email me or something if you would like to share your experience without, being outed exactly. I would love to know how people are working through their own alchemy. I don't generally, as I said, discuss that too much, but I'd love to know techniques of some basic stuff you're doing without knowing too much about your personal business. I don't want to know any of your personal businesses. Anything you're willing to share with me that's appropriate, 40/40, I would love to know. So take care of yourselves, enjoy your day, whatever part of the day you're in, and get within your skin, my friends, because you're divine. Oh, it's so fine. Just ask it. It's fine all the time. Take care of your beautiful selves, and I will see you again next time. Mwah! Bye, friends.